Hey folks, Dr. Gerstmar from Aspire Natural Health. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you happen to be watching or listening to this, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today I wanted to tell a story of a person that I was helping to coach and advise recently and some of the great results they got and the insights that can give us on dealing with digestive issues and autoimmunity. This person had found increasing sensitivities to foods. They'd found they were taking more and more foods out of their diet, and it definitely was helping with things like rashes and skin issues and fatigue and brain fog, as well as some other allergies and things that were going on, headaches and migraines, the laundry list of stuff that many of us deal with. And they found that changing their diet, which we talk about as a really important step, had made a really big difference for them. But they were feeling stuck. They take out some foods and they feel better, and then some more sensitivities would develop, and they take out some foods and they'd feel better, and it leads to this downward spiral that we've talked about before, where in extreme cases, people can get down to eating like 3 or 4 foods and even then find that those foods are giving them reactions. Now, the most common reason that occurs is because other underlying issues haven't been taken care of properly. Diet is really powerful, and for some people, it is the lever that can completely change their life and deal with digestive issues and autoimmunity, but it cannot take care of everything for everybody. And that is the case with anything, of course. There is no one single thing, whether it's diet or a drug or a supplement or anything else. There is no one single thing that's going to handle everything for everybody. But this person found themselves in a place where their diet was shrinking, and they were working really hard in dealing and in eating well, and getting some sleep and staying active and dealing with these other issues in their life. But they just knew that things were missing. And it's true. So one of the things that can be missing is an emphasis on gut health, an emphasis on gut health and getting the digestion working properly. There is one other really big issue that can come up that can have an effect, and it was for this person. What is it? Mental and emotional issues. Mental and emotional issues. Now, most people, when they hear that, they have one of two reactions. The first is, it's like, yes, that sounds like that could be it. I think that might be something for me. I'm interested. I'm going to dive in and explore it. The other is the exact opposite. No, that's not an issue for me, or that's not really a thing, or what are you trying to say here? For some people, it can bring up the feelings of shame, blame, or guilt. You're saying this is all in my head. This is just an emotional issue. No, that's not at all what we're saying. In fact, unfortunately, far too many people can be bludgeoned, beat over the head with something like this by their regular doctor when they don't understand what's going on or how to effectively deal with it. People can often be told, you know what, this is all in your head, as in, you're making it up, this isn't real, our tests don't show anything going on, this is just you being depressed or anxious or hysterical or hypochondria, you're just making it up. That is not at all what we're talking about here. All of this, either of these two kind of pieces, often come from the failure to recognize that what goes on up here, for those of you listening and pointing to my head, what goes on in our head, in our brain, in our mind, is deeply connected. It is inseparable to what is going on in our body. They're not two separate things. We've got a brain up here, and then we've got a body down here, and they're basically what goes on in one doesn't affect the other. I mean, we know this to be true. Think about the last time that you were sick, right? You had a cold or a flu. How well was your brain functioning? Talk about like not well, or maybe not at all, right? Sat on the couch and vegetated, maybe watched a show, maybe laid in bed. Have you tried to read a book or do other things when you're sick? How well does that work? Like, for most of us, not well at all, right? Because what is happening in the quote unquote in the body with our immune system is affecting what's going on in our brain and in our mind. Another common example the other way is public speaking. Right? If you're like most people, you're terrified by the thought of public speaking. Well, what happens if you have to get up on stage? Obviously, all the things like sweaty palms and racing heartbeat, but what else happens? Digestion, right? And the bathroom. You find yourself running to the bathroom a whole bunch to go to the bathroom, right? You don't technically quote unquote, have to go to the bathroom. But what is going on in your brain and your mind, in your nervous system, is filtering down to your body, having effects on not only your heart, racing heart, sweaty palms, all those things, but it's affecting the digestive system as well. That's because what goes on in the brain and the mind affects what's going on in the body and vice versa. So when we talk about mental and emotional issues, we need to understand that what is going on in our mental and emotional world can have an absolutely massive impact on what's going on in our body in quote unquote physical symptoms. This isn't people making it up. This is the connection between the body and the mind having a profound impact on what's going on. In fact, research has shown that what are called adverse, bad, early life experiences, having bad early life experiences is a huge predictor of how someone's going to age, what their health is going to be like. All of that impact is a huge impact. What happens in the first couple of years of our lives, which is basically completely beyond our control, does shape our future direction. You can imagine in the same way you plant a seed in a pot, right? And the direction the sun is in and how much you water that plant and all those other factors have an impact on that plant's life for the rest of its life. The direction it grows in, how robust it is, all those things, right? The same is true for us. Fortunately and unfortunately here, the things that happen in the first couple years of our life, it's not like they rule everything, but they have a significant impact for us. And similarly, other traumatic and big events in people's lives really impact their brain and their mind, and therefore their body. So this person, they found that a lot of early childhood issues and other issues throughout their life were profoundly impacting them. You know, when we brought up the idea of mental and emotional issues, this person had that first reaction. Yes, I think this might be an issue for me. And to their credit, they dove in head first and really tackled it pretty quickly. They found some issues of guilt and shame and blame, relationships with parents and other relationships throughout their life have been manifesting these negative patterns. And again, all credit to this person. They went in and tackled them and started working with them. And they found that pretty quickly they began to notice changes in foods as well. Foods that had previously been bothering the person were having less and less of an impact. Some of those immediate reactions that were coming up were less and less. It's because the changes that were going on in their mind were changing their brain and their nervous system and the signals that it was sending to their body. And this person found all the other things were helpful. Diet and lifestyle and working the other factors and improving gut health. They were all really important. But for this person, they found that the mental and emotional issues were a huge piece of what was going on. And when they did the work that they needed to do on those mental and emotional issues, they found that many of those food reactions and other reactions in their life began to diminish, and many of them actually went away. For this person, it was a huge impact on their health and well-being. So what can we take away from this? Again, nothing works for everyone, but this is an issue that's often ignored, swept under the rug, or made fun of, like told, whatever. But realize that what goes on in our mind affects what goes on in our body. What goes on in our body affects what goes on in our mind. If your knee-jerk reaction is to immediately dismiss this, I hope you will sit with this a little bit to really think it through and think about what is going on in our mind and our brain. Right? The worst thing that's going to happen by doing some introspection, looking inside, thinking and working through this, is that we have an opportunity to deal with some of these pains, some of these traumas, some of these wounds, some of these patterns in our mental and emotional lives that don't serve us. Worst case, it affects nothing as far as your physical health. It doesn't improve your digestion. It doesn't improve your autoimmunity. But you know what it does improve? Your well-being, your happiness. So there's very little to lose here. Now, the other side is, look, this stuff can be painful. It's easy in comparison to change your diet and to do gut healing and to work on all of these other steps. But really diving into some of these painful experiences, some of these feelings of blame, shame, guilt, anger, sadness, all of these issues, it can be painful and uncomfortable. But there's real gold to be mined by going into these things. Sometimes we can do this ourselves. Sometimes we need an expert, like a counselor, a psychologist, or someone else who's trained in these fields and can help us through these steps. But for all of us, working on the mental and emotional side of our health pays huge dividends. For some of us, it can be a key factor in dealing with things like digestive issues and autoimmunity. I've also seen it be a really big factor in things like chronic fatigue, multiple chemical sensitivity, and many other issues as well. I hope you will explore these issues and see what they can do for you. All right, folks, that is it for me today. Listen, if this all sounds good, if you'd like a comprehensive and holistic approach to dealing with your digestive issues and autoimmunity, let's have a chat and a conversation, see if we might be the right fit to help you out. If we are, we'll talk about next steps and we'll get to work transforming your life. If it's not, that is okay. We're definitely not the right fit for everyone. You have absolutely nothing to lose. And if it's not the right fit, we will do our best to see if we can help you find someone else who is a better fit. All you need to do is go to the website, aspirenaturalhealth.com. That's aspirenaturalhealth.com, ASPIRE naturalhealth.com. Two buttons you can click there. The first says ask about price and availability. Tells you a little bit more about the way we work, whether we have any availability or when you're watching or listening to this, whether we're on a wait list, and what the investment looks like to work with us. If all of that sounds good, you can click on the second button that says apply for help. All right, folks, that is it for me today. Until next time, take care.